What's up, everybody? Happy Sunday evening. Hope all is well. Buckeye Scoop Nation, Buckeye Nation in general. We got a ton to talk about. I mean, a lot to talk about. So we're going to try to do it as efficiently as possible. Do me a favor before we do anything, hit that like button, that little thumbs up you see, click that. Please do that. Also, if you have not subscribed, please consider subscribing, especially for those who watch every time and just don't hit the button. Hit that button. Helps us out towards our goal, which is 37K. We're getting close. And again, you may be the person to help us hit that monumental goal. And so also, real quick, before we get into the title or anything like that, I had to shout out the Buckeye basketball team. They got a big win today over Notre Dame, a tough, gritty win. That was my first time watching the Buckeye basketball team. I've just been busy, or it's been on BTN Plus or something goofy. But they put out a tough win. It did not start off well. They were down double digits. And maybe we'll get more into it. But the point is, they won in the last second drive to the hole by Tilly, the transfer center from Santa Clara, and they toughed it out, man. I respect it. Come on, Diebler. Come on, Diebler. We want Buckeye basketball to be great again. So I'm happy about that. Also, remember, when it comes to your super chats, helps to go towards the pay it forward, which is our military and our first responders. We're going to look out for them because they're always going to look out for us. Let me just bring Nevada in. Nevada, we got a ton to talk about, bro. But what about this Buckeye basketball team getting a good win today?
Well, is Craig Lee and Clark Kellogg still on the team right there? Or they're not on the team anymore? Or Ronnie
Sadly,
Stokes?
no.
Ronnie Stokes not still out there?
No Stokes either. No Jim Jackson. No. Here's a name for you. No Jamie Skelton. That's a throwback right there, ain't it?
How about Grady Mateen? Remember Grady?
Ooh, what was
Grady
that? Was that 80?
He was the oldest looking guy. He played basketball and he was like 67 years old. He was on the team. remember he was bald. He had the head going out there. Yes. I'm like, what is that 67-year-old guy doing out there on the team? But
back then, guys looked like they were 19, looked like they had a whole mortgage and 401k. It's just different. But yes, I'm very happy Buckeye basketball got a win today over the Golden Domers of all teams. So
very nice. And hey, when things are rolling, when you're on a roll, and Ohio State is absolutely on a roll right now. Yeah, there's just so much to unwind. Let's just jump right in. What topic do you want to go on? You want to go on injuries? You want to go on recruiting? You want to go on? Just pick a topic. Spin the wheel of amazing, and we'll pick a topic. Yeah, there we go.
All right. So listen, because we got so much to talk about, it don't matter if we bury the lead or not. Let's talk about Carnell Tate and JJ Smith. Let's just get into that, and I'll let you kick that off. I got some things I'll say, but let's just dive right into that.
Okay. First of all, Carnell Tate could have gone this week. All right. So just FYI for people that are wondering about Carnell, if the Michigan game had been this week, Carnell Tate would have been playing. If the Big Ten championship game was this week, Carnell Tate would have been playing. Just being held out in an abundance of caution. You have to understand Ryan still has PTSD for the Jackson Smith and Jigba situation where they rushed a guy back. I think rushed a guy back, or whether it was bad luck or whatever it was. They lost the guy. There's the consensus probably best wide receiver in the NFL right now. And had we had him in 2022, we'd probably have multiple national championships for Ryan. But they brought him back a little early. So Ryan is playing an aggressive game of load management, and this takes shape in many ways. One, he's reducing the number of practice reps that they're getting. Two, they're changing their off the field training regimen in terms of how much they lift, how often they lift, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Third, they've slowed down the number of plays, that Ohio State is running. And Ohio State's running probably one of the fewest plays of any of the top teams in college football right now. So much so that it's almost like a full game or game and a half less of offensive plays than other teams. And then fourth, they're now actively getting into load management where they're holding guys out of games because they have an eye on the bigger picture. And it really just speaks to the fact that college football has changed. And for us old heads that have been college football fans for a long time, you get ingrained in a way of thinking of, I'm old enough to have remembered when there were no playoffs. It was just all AP, UPI voting. And so you had to be the best, the number one team. And, that was all about perfection in every game, and every game mattered, and score differential, you'd have to run it up. And then we went to the 2-team playoff, and that still was a very narrow construct. You had to be one of the top 2 teams to get in there. Then they expanded to 4. And again, tough to get into a 4-team tournament. You still had a lot of things had to happen early. Right now it's 12. And so literally Ohio State is sitting right now in a situation where, barring, let's just assume for the argument that we beat Rutgers this week, even by 1 point. We beat Rutgers 17-16. There is absolutely no way we're not in the playoff. They're just, so the last game of the year, the Michigan game, where it used to be everything from if you did not win the game, you didn't go to the Rose Bowl. If you didn't win that game, you didn't win the Big Ten title. If you didn't win that game, you didn't go to the national championship. You had no chance at the national championship. Now it's like we're literally in a spot where, I mean, there could be a scenario where you're better off losing that game. As sacrilegious as that sounds,
Yeah.
I've always thought that the 4 or 5 spot in this 12-team playoff is kind of the sweet spot, because you get you get the 12 if you're the 5, you get them in a home game, and then you get the 4th seed. You know what I'm saying? And you don't, in this situation, you don't know who these teams are going to be, who's going to be good, who's not going to be, who's not going to be good, et cetera, et cetera. So for Ohio State now, they have the ability to hold guys back if guys are, slightly injured, nicked up, or whatever it is. And let me tell you, from talking to college football players, this time of year, everybody's hurt. Everybody's injured. Everybody's hurt. And if they get a chance to hold them back and get another week of rest or whatever it is, and if that means we don't look quite as sharp against UCLA because Sain's operating without his number 1 and number 2 wide receiver, or without their their safety, or what, it just doesn't matter. It's all about be healthy when it matters. Be healthy, when the season really begins up in Ann Arbor in 2 weeks, and just take it from there. So for Ohio State right now, you're going to see a lot of guys being held out of an abundance of caution. Carnell Tate was just the first one. Could have gone, had had the game been more important this week. No reason to play him. Not sure if he'll play this week. I think he'll play this week. I've been told to play this week, but if you ask me, do I care if Carnell Tate or JJ Smith play this week against Rutgers? Not in the least. Don't care. Don't care. And I don't care if we win by 1 point. If we win 14-13 in the worst game in stadium history, it doesn't bother me. You know what I mean? Because it just doesn't matter. Just win, move on. And in a 12-team playoff, you've got lots of options. But JJ, mild groin strain. Mild groin strain. If you've ever been an athlete, and you warm up and you go out and you play, and then you stand around for the next 2 hours, it gets stiff. And when he gets stiff, and they had a video of him walking off the field, kind of limping off the field. And some people were just freaking out. And it's like, guys, it's not that big of a deal. He's fine. He was yucking it up afterwards. And think about it this way. If JJ was hurt in any way that was significant, do you think they would have had him standing around the sideline for the 3rd and 4th quarter, high-fiving dudes and doing it? Or do you think they would maybe have had him on the bench, or worse, in the locker room, or
Right.
something, right? He was none of those things. So just use some common sense along with the inside information we're giving you. But JJ, Carnell, we're as healthy as an Ohio State team right now as I've ever seen. Through 10 weeks of the season, we've been blessed with good health. I compare that to last year, where we were losing starters on almost a weekly basis. Certainly, key spots. We lost 3 starters on the offensive line, over successive weeks. We're not having any of that right now. JJ and Carnell both fine, just part of the load management strategy. So if you're an Ohio State fan, in the immortal words of Aaron Rodgers, relax. RELAX, relax.
Well said. And yeah, I mean, because obviously people are freaking out. There's a couple things going on. They're trying to associate this with Jackson Smith and Jigma situation, which I'm going to resist the temptation to go into a long spiel about that, because I still disagree with some of the narrative that's been out there even to this day about the situation. But the point is, Nevada's correct. Ryan Day is going to be very careful to make sure, even if it's a minor thing, not to make it a major thing. And so if you don't believe us, if you don't believe what we're saying or what's on the scoop board, Ryan Day, he said Jeremiah's just having a little nagging issue and they wanted to be smart. Okay. There's no, we can argue, we can debate if Sand's more important or whoever's more important. Let's just say Jeremiah Smith's the most important guy on the team. Ryan Day is not going to jeopardize that by forcing something or playing him when he shouldn't be playing or whatever. So Nevada spot on. The other thing is Brandon Ennis was asked in the postgame about the same situation, about fans freaking out. Should they be freaking out about Tate and JJ? And he just smiled and said, no, there's no reason to freak out. They're fine. They're going to be fine. So I get it. The JSN PTSD is there. I get that. And of course, without those guys, we're a different team, but it's fine, y'all. It's going to be fine. I expect Tate to play a few snaps this week and sit, and I expect JJ not to play. That's my prediction. And then we'll get ready for that team up north. But yeah, that's all my only follow-up. Nevada was very thorough with that. And then we can kind of honestly, I think this is a decent pivot to get into the UCLA game. Our thoughts, we didn't do a post game, so we can do that. And then we can hit on the other 13 to 19 topics we have. Just kidding.
Yeah, no, look, I mean, I thought it was kind of a sloppy game, kind of an ugly game. UCLA quarterback did some nice things against us. They moved the ball a little better than probably I even thought they were, at least in the second half. And for Ohio State, we got the running game going a little bit. I think people were excited about seeing Peoples with that great kind of highlight reel run and
Oh,
where he
yeah.
jumped over the guy. But I like the play before that where they kind of swung at the pass to him and he just kind of hit it up the field about 7-8 yards, and there were some blocks he was throwing in pass protection that were
Yeah.
pretty vicious as well. So I think Peoples is a guy that, the light doesn't always go on for everybody at the same time. And I think for James, I'm seeing kind of the emergence of a role for him, and I can kind of see how they're planning to use him, and he seems to be stepping into that really nicely. And
Yeah.
obviously, you've got Isaiah West, you've got Bo Jackson, CJ Donaldson didn't get did he get a carry this? I don't think he even
No, he
no
didn't play.
he didn't play. So I'm pretty sure that's part of the whole load management thing. A lot of guys just kind of sat it out because they weren't going to look. They were playing a UCLA team without their starting quarterback. They were 33.5 point favorites. And, if you're in a situation like that, you just got to get through it. And the problem is when you sit guys that the players all know. I mean, it's one thing for us to say, Ohio State, we want you to play at a high level. We want you to be super crisp and, play with the same level of intensity. But the players aren't stupid. They know when, you're sitting guys, you're playing the game in a particular way that it's not as serious. And I think for Ohio State, we probably feel guilty of that. And I thought Julian looked a little, for him, he was off. He's down to only 80% completion. The bar is so high for him right
Right.
now. So I did want to say though, I don't understand how was that not a late hit on Julian on that play?
Oh, Nevada. Don't get me worked up on that. That was
No,
absolutely a late hit. At
but
least two
how
and a half, 3 steps after he let go of the ball.
and then it didn't even merit a mention from the announcers, and it's like he took it. I'm telling you, it was 3 steps. I counted them. It was 3 steps,
Yeah.
and then he like launched, like extended through him and pushed it. It's like, how the heck is that not? And then he injured Julian on the play. How is that not a
Man.
classic roughing the passer penalty? I don't understand it. I every week I fear like I'm going to be done with the complaint about Big Ten officiating and something like that happens. But how do the announcers not even mention it? What am I missing? I don't understand.
So yeah, I'll start with that and kind of go into my little notes about the game. So it's funny, yeah, they didn't mention that, but yet they were so quick to go on a 10-minute rant about the cause that we were beneficial of, that we benefited from. You notice that, Nevada? Like it's like nothing on that obvious late hit, but all types of let's bring in Steve Territory, let's bring in 3 different refs to say that Ohio State shouldn't have got that. Like, come on, dog. Like, just it was ridiculous, Nevada. It seems like any other team would get that call 3 steps after the ball was released and shoved him. Listen, we're from the football world where back in the day that wasn't a penalty. Okay, so you can say, oh, well, that's soft. The fact of the matter is the rules have changed. So just call it evenly. Okay, regardless of what you think or not, those are the new rules. Enforce them for us as well. That's all we're saying. So I don't know. Before I go on my spiel, did you want to respond to that?
Well, yeah, I mean, look, I'm for the thing. Like, I think Turkey Jones was framed on that the supposed late hit on Terry Bradshaw. You know, something like
Yeah.
that. So, I mean, like, that's where I'm from. So I'm with you. I don't think they should have skirts on and playing out there in terms of doing it. But like that would, yeah, in the year 2025. Let's put it this way: if that was Patrick
Facts.
Mahomes, that player would have
Oh.
been tased and
Oh.
arrested and taken off the field seriously, right?
Yeah. Yes.
No,
Absolutely.
he'd be banned from football. The guy would have like been out there and there'd been a bench clearing brawl, and it didn't even merit a mention. So yeah, I'm confused. But Julian, he kind of turned the ankle a little bit, and he was having some fun out there after. And you talked to him afterwards, and he's totally fine. Great
Yeah.
kid. Yet, I'm telling you, I think the biggest thing working against Julian Sand for all these awards, all these accolades, everything is how he looks. I'm telling you,
Yes.
it's just he looks like Howdy Doody out there, and so people just can't believe that this he's an assassin. But yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. I think his baby face and his slight build and everything really works against him, because I don't think people are connecting that with the generationally good type of play that we're seeing every week.
I agree. He looks very Stranger Things, like Will Rogers or Mike. Like for you Stranger Things fans out there, he looks very Hawkins, Indiana. I agree. Like it's a part of it. It's baked in the cake, unfortunately, but it is what it is. So I did want to say that despite not having Tate and JJ being limited, I was very impressed. My guy Ennis, you see his confidence. His confidence is going up and up more and more. He's not dropping balls. He's just been money. And then Bryson Rogers. Bryson Rogers has been very reliable. Bryson Rogers reminds me of a young Brian Robisky. That's my comparison for Rogers. Also, I was very happy to see the run game get on track. We had this is the most balanced game we've had. 218 passing, 222 rushing. And then Bo Jackson led the way with 15 carries for 112 yards, one TD. All the backs averaged 7 yards per carry. Clearly the best rushing game we've had all season. They all ran hard. They all had great vision. We understand UCLA is not a juggernaut of a defensive team. We get that. It doesn't matter. Execute, run the ball well, and that's what we did. Was very happy to see that as well. Van Sickle had some really good moments going back and watching. He played well. He did some really good things. And I'm just quickly hitting on things. And then defensively, I'll say Kenyatta Jackson, he needs to continue to get love, because you're seeing the NFL, like before the season, how we were telling y'all, like we're hearing the players like, man, he's an NFL DN. Like he's really coming to his own. You're starting to see more and more of that really come to fruition. And then of course, Sonny Styles. Sonny Styles has been all over the place. He has been balling. He needs more love. And lastly, again, I know we got a lot to talk about, so I'm putting it out there quick. Lastly, Nevada, shout out to Lorenzo Styles for hitting that crease. Kudos to Ebner, the special teams coach, for scheming that up, for the execution of the blocks. There was a wide open lane. My son BJ could have ran through that and housed it. And I'm not taking that away from Low Styles. He did a great job. And that's why he has that. We talk about that speed. He had that speed. And so very happy to get a kick return after 15-year drought, Nevada.
Yeah, no, that was good. And, we've always talked about how, the fastest player on the team in the testing is Lorenzo Styles Jr. He is the fastest player. So imagine on a team of fast guys, he's the fastest. So I knew when he broke in the thing, they weren't going to catch him. But
Yeah.
that was a big play for us gamblers that were laying 33 and a half points for us to come back and
Yeah.
answer that with that score, and that late James Peoples touchdown put us over the top there for the cover. So thank you to Low Styles Jr. Thank you to James Peoples for that last second touchdown and
Yeah.
the miracle cover. But no, I mean Bryson Rogers, here's a guy, he's only junior, so he's got eligibility remaining.
Yeah.
He could be a weapon, man. I'm telling you what, he catches everything that's thrown at him,
Yep.
and
Gets open too.
he gets open. So when Carnell's gone and you've got JJ and I mean all the other guys, but Bryce has been kind of a not the forgotten man, but they talk about Quincy Porter, they talk about Mylan Graham, there's a lot of other guys that get mentioned. He doesn't get
Yeah.
mentioned a lot. He might be the best of all of them, and he's a really, really good player. Happy to see him kind of get into the end zone. That was so nice, so nice to see. But the bad news about load management is you're sitting guys and guys are sitting out and stuff. The good news is you get to see a lot of young guys play,
Yeah.
and seeing young guys play. I just think it's great for the team. It's great for practice. It's great for the esprit de corps of everybody. Because if we've had one criticism of Ryan Day in years gone by, it's been that he stuck with the starters too long and the backups didn't get a chance to play. That's not an issue with him anymore. And can I compliment the new Ryan Day? We've always talked about you talk about the Bruce Leroy glow and
Yeah.
the new Ryan Day. How about Ryan Day, the riverboat gambler going for it on 4th and 5 multiple
Yeah.
times in the game? That's different. That's
Yeah.
that he would have never done that before. And I think those are just the little steps that I see that, when you talk about how is, when you talk about Ryan being a different guy and he's more confident and he's not going to be as tight. And so those are the tiny little manifestations of it that I'm saying, because the old Ryan Day is the guy that punted from the 48-yard line, 4th and 1 against Michigan. And now, is there any doubt in your mind if it's 4th and 1 on the 48-yard line? Is Ryan Day going for it?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So and I love it. Let me tell you what, I watched the Packers play the Giants today, and the Giants were kind of playing like they didn't have anything to lose because they had a new coach, Jameis Winston in the quarterback, and they were going the whole game like they had all 4 downs to make 10 yards. And
Yeah.
let me tell you what, it's really hard to stop a team when they use all 4 downs to get 10 yards.
With
Because even if you
confidence too. Yeah.
yeah, even if you run for 2 or 3 yards a carry, you can make it. Two and a
Yeah.
half yards a carry, four 2.5 yard carries, and you got a first down. So I think I think that's the next big step forward in all of football is teams using all 4 downs to make the thing. You're seeing it already. You're seeing Dan Campbell does that a lot with the Lions. You're seeing lots of coaches that are using all over the field. But I think that's the next big innovation is teams just really using all 4 downs wherever they are. I think punting is going to go kind of the way of the dodo. And I think people are just going to be going for it more and more and more because they realize giving up the ball voluntarily to the other team is a bad, poor percentage play. And there was a school out of in Arkansas, Pulaski High. They never punted. They went for it on 4th down every time. They went for 2 every time, and
Wow.
every kickoff they did an onside kick. Every kickoff, because their whole
Wow.
thing was to put the pressure on the other team. They practiced their onside kicks, they practiced their 2 point, conversion. So they were really very proficient at it. And they would have games where they'd get up 24-0, and the other team would never touch the ball. Like, get the ball, touchdown, onside kick, recover it, go down, score again, 2 point conversion, onside kick again, get off and score. And you imagine you're down 24-0 and you've never had the ball one time. So
That's
that's kind of, I'm telling you, that's kind of the future. And I'm loving this new, more aggressive Ryan Day.
yeah.
I absolutely love playing that way. And I realize that there's a downside to that. And I realize that you could get caught short on some of that situation. But I'm loving the way that he's moving. I love the way that he's managing this season. I think this has really been his best season ever as a program manager. And then throw on top of that he's killing it on the recruiting trail on top of all that.
Yeah.
I mean, Ryan Day, A+ performance. As good as he was last year, I think he's better this year, and that's really saying something.
Yeah, man, that's good stuff. Shout out to my guy Corey. It's funny he mentioned in one of our chats, he was like, in the midst of all this uncertainty in college football, Ryan Day is killing it, and I thought that was a great way of putting it because it is, and that's why we always bang the table like, yo, appreciate what we have, and trust what's coming from this staff and from this organization because they keep nailing it. Every time fans think they've fell off, or just are they're down bad, here comes Ohio State to show you no, we good, we still here, and we're not going anywhere. And so, on the flip side, I wish I would have uploaded this clip from Ennis to my Twitter, but it's funny you mentioned. Listen, we've been telling y'all this is a different day for months now. Different day, literally and figuratively with Coach Day. about the Bruce Leroy glow, as Nevada mentioned, and how things have changed since the Michigan game. Well, Brandon Ennis, Captain Brandon Ennis, in his post game, said the same thing. He said he's a different guy. I'm paraphrasing, but he said he's a different man, a different guy since that Michigan loss. He said he's just, he's talking positively about it. That's exactly what we've been telling you. And so the players are buying in even more on a whole other level. The trust is there. The trusting of the process is there. It's one thing to tell your team to trust the process with no rings and no natty. It's a whole nother thing when you got your ring on. Like, yeah, I trust you. So anyway, yeah, I just wanted to reiterate that. And I'm excited, man, and looking forward to the end of the season and seeing all the fruits of the labor and the fruits of the vision of Ryan Day doing everything he's been doing, from slowing the games down to making sure his players are right. Whatever, I'm ready to ball. Listen, I'm going to enjoy this Rutgers game because I'm not going to be a hypocrite and not enjoy every game like we tell y'all to. But boy, I'm telling you, I cannot wait for November 29th in Nevada. We can pivot into a little bit of a recruiting talk, and then we got the super chat starting to stack up a little bit.
Well, recruiting, you probably were sleeping there, B. Moses, this afternoon. Didn't see any of the recruit. I don't know if you saw the Drake Quinn commitment coming to Ohio State there.
Let me pull that up now.
Now, there's no way that he could have got that, because that would mean that Larry Johnson landed another big time defensive end, right? So I thought Larry was being put out the pasture, right?
Fire Larry Johnson, baby.
Fire Larry. Drake Quinn, guys. If you guys don't know, Drake Quinn is a
dog.
He is a dog, man. He's a criminally underrated at 4-star. He's underrated because this guy was a Clemson commit. Everybody wanted Tennessee, Texas, Alabama, Georgia. Everybody wanted out of Buford, Georgia. You pair him with Kerry Wilder, and I don't know how anybody has a better pair of defensive end commitments. This guy is absolutely magnificent football player. He's our 11th flip, I believe, in this class. We told you there was going to be a lot of flips. We told you the 2026 class was going to finish strong. Drake Quinn out of Buford, Georgia, just an absolutely spectacular player. The video's on. It's like one highlight after another. Tackled for losses, big plays, fumbles forced, sacks. He just absolutely wrecking ball out there. And as excited as I am about every player, I'm probably as excited about him as I am anybody in the class. He is absolutely spectacular player. What an addition to this already great 2026 class. And at the position that people are complaining the most about, defensive end, this guy's a wrecking ball.
Yeah. I mean, listen, Nevada, I think it was you who said this, but there was a time where we really struggled to get these big down south boys from the D line, and now we're getting them. We're getting them. And so I absolutely love this. Yes, Buford is a great school. I mean, listen, this Southern, what we're doing down south, look, Caden McDonald. And some people try to say, well, Georgia didn't want him. So, and look what he's doing now. Like, bro, I don't even have much to say. You nailed it. Look at the film. He's a dog. It's even crazier because, again, we beat him out for a lot of big schools, a lot of competition. Some thought he was a Texas lock and all this other stuff. This kid is a dog. He sees what McDonald's doing. He sees what Houston is doing. He saw what Tyleik Williams did. He sees the stability of this defense. And looky here. But again, all the hand wringing months ago, we told y'all, just wait for it. And now it's here. Now it's here, man. So that's all I got to say about him. I know there was another boom today. This is now it's just like you look at your phone like, oh, babe, another boom. Okay. This is like it's crazy. We got booms and recruits coming out of our ears in Nevada, and we can shift gears into to today's boom if you want.
Yeah, the tight end, the Louisville commitment. Was that the one you were talking about? Because I've lost track
Nick
of
Lauder.
them. Yeah, Nick Lauder, because there's been so many. Like you said, they're coming in fast and furious right now. But Nick Lauder, the big tight end, the Louisville commit. I believe he's the 11th. I guess Dre Quinn was the 10th flip. He's the 11th
Yeah.
flip in this class. Another just great get. Another guy who's kind of come on, seen how Ohio State has been using the tight ends. I mean, Ohio State's been using the tight ends probably more creatively this year than I've ever seen before. These whether I like it or not, these four tight ends, setups, the three tight end setups, the two tight end setups is basically a base formation for Ohio State right now. And
Right.
yeah, guys want to be part of that. And I think your offense is never going to be fully evolved until you're activating the tight end into it as well. I mean, you can be wide receiver centric, you can be running back centric, you can be quarterback centric, but you have to have a tight end as well to be fully rounded. And I think now we're a fully rounded offense. We're an offense that can hurt you in so many different ways. And obviously Max Clare has got a comfort level with Julian Sand, and they're using him as an outlet. They're using him as a primary on those seam routes. And I love the evolution of this offense, but the evolution specifically of that room, the tight end room, and Lauder joining the Buckeyes again. Another boom this afternoon. Like it's just and we're not done. We've got other guys
Nope.
that are ready to commit, other 2026 commitments that are ready to happen. So remember when we told you that this is going to happen, this is beyond any of our wildest dreams in terms of, I thought we'd maybe flip 5 or 6. We flipped
Right.
11.
Which is a
This,
lot. 5 or
that's a
6
lot.
is a lot.
5 or 6 is a lot. This is crazy. This class is, people are, oh, what happened to recruiting? I thought we were going to be better at recruiting. It's like this class is. I mean, it's right up there with the best classes in the country. It's an amazing class at every position, and I think that's with some guys criminally underrated. So loving everything about the 2026 class. And the best news about that is 2027 may be one of the for the books. 2027 might be one of the most epic
Oh
classes that
yeah.
we've ever had at Ohio State. And I know it's hard to think that far in advance and to get excited about recruiting that. We know with guys can come and go. I'm telling you, 2027 could be a very, very special class for Ohio State.
Yes, indeed. And real quick, Nick Lauder, he's an Ohio boy from Lebanon, Ohio. And so again, once again, committed to Louisville, the Ohio State staff looking at senior film, coming in and swooping later. They may have not been ready at that point, but now you got it. And then I saw the chat. You mentioned Eli Johnson was an hour before kickoff, Greg's Disney Adventures. Yeah, another dog, 200-pound safety. I believe he's 6'1", 6'2", I believe. I mean, just another great get. It's just like it's crazy. It's crazy, man. So I was about to say something else, man. You said something that sparked a thought, Nevada, and I lost the thought, but it's okay. It'll come back to me. But we got some super chats starting to pile up. Unless you wanted to respond, I think you just went off of mute.
Now let's get to them super chats so we make sure we don't want to forget any super chats, because then we have angry people lining up B Moses' house there with pitchforks and everything like that, the flames under. Read my super chat. So let's read them out. Let's go.
Oh man, it's like step out in the porch with my little Buckeye slippers on. Like, you're what?
What?
Man, go home. Security. All right. So what we got here? We got D Sunny. Thanks for the $4.99. When the camera was on the O State bench last night, the team looked so relaxed, much like an NBA bench. Any concern with team being overconfident? No. I have zero concerns about this team being overconfident. And the reason why, D Sunny, is because, again, with me, I'm not saying I'm a mind reader. I'm not saying I'm some psychoanalytic guru. I'm very observant, though. I watch the interviews. I observe. I listen. Like, I read. And also, not only that, that aside, we all know what just happened. And we all know the culture. So when you combine all that observation and the leadership on this team, it just doesn't equal, oh, yeah, we got this. Oh, it doesn't equal 2015. Well, all that talent we had, but it was just really not the best locker room. Per Urban Meyer, this team and this culture doesn't scream overconfident, whatever. Nah. It's one thing for players and coaches to say one thing, Nevada, but then you're wondering, is it going to show up? I have no doubt their words are actually going to be backed up by their actions. And to me, it's already had. It's just a matter of going through the process, Nevada. That's just my opinion.
Well, yeah, and I look, I look at it that for your teams in a year, you only have so much emotional energy to expend for your team. You know what I'm saying? In other
Yeah.
words, you can't be going at max effort every week. And I think those teams that do that, I think Signetti does that a lot. He tries to run it up on everybody, and
Yeah.
he's trying to he's pushing the guys hard. And I'm feeling like they're starting to kind of plateau a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And for
Yeah.
Ohio State, I like the fact that we've had some of these games like the way I mean the schedule. I thought the schedule this year at the beginning of the year was a very, very challenging schedule. Very challenging. At the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Beginning of the year talking about Texas, at Washington, at Illinois, at Wisconsin on consecutive weeks, come back for Penn State. You know what I'm saying? That was looking like that was a formidable schedule. And we were hoping if we could get through that, then you get to the end of this and you're like, UCLA, you didn't know where they were going to be in Rutgers. But to get those guys, I feel like Ryan hasn't had to go to the whip with the guys, and so they've been able to kind of coast the horse home here down the back stretch. And I love that they're relaxed. I love that we're not having to go into the emotional stores right now to whip them up for a big frenzied effort on one of these games. And we can bring that out in Michigan, because I tell you, you can't do that too many times. If you do it too many times, man, the horse just
Yeah.
quits listening to the whip anymore. You're just whipping them to whip them at that point. And you can only convince them so many times, because these kids are not stupid, and you can only convince them so many times that this is the biggest game of their life and the most important thing, and they have to play at the top level, because they just can't do that every week. And that's why teams have ebbs and flows and ups and downs and letdowns. And Ryan has been better at avoiding the letdowns, better at managing these games than anybody in Ohio State, anybody in college football history. So the
Yeah.
fact that we're relaxed, taking it easy, turns in it, man, I love it, because I know that when he goes to the whip for that Michigan game or the Big Ten championship or for the playoff, we're gonna have energy. We're gonna have that stuff there ready to go, and that's how I'm viewing it. But maybe that's an optimist view, but I think it's the right one when it comes to this Ohio State team.
Real quick, I gotta follow up because I gotta say this. So, first of all, you're spot on. You can't just go to the whip like you said. I mean, that's just logical. Anyone who knows anything about that remotely, it just doesn't work like that. With that said, I'm gonna say something that's probably maybe some of y'all might be mad at me for saying, but that loss to Michigan last year is going to be the gift that keeps on giving. And what I mean by that is, in the moment, it was awful. I was there. So none of y'all can tell me, what do you mean that was awful? I was there. It was terrible. I know. And it sucked in between that time until we played Tennessee. So I know it was bad. But we all know what happened after that. And there's a lot of belief within the program and outside the program that was the catalyst to really get Ryan Day on his maniacal campaign to go on the run that we went. And I say that it's the gift that keeps on giving because, listen, y'all, they lost to Michigan. They were 21-point favorites and lost at the crib to a 5-loss scum team. Don't you know they did not forgive? They did not forget that. That is fresh in their minds, and they got to go up to the big blouse. So this, I just want y'all to just say that out loud. You feel me? They haven't. These guys still haven't beaten Michigan, and we know they've cheated. They cheated. We're gonna keep reminding them of that. Go read the report. They cheated. I don't care how much the COI. Oh, the kids. We can't punish the kids. They cheated. Okay, but regardless, it still hasn't produced gold pants. They still don't have a win in a column to say they beat Michigan. So don't you understand that they are fired up to go up to Ann Arbor, and they're doing everything is leading up to the game and then beyond, which is the Big Ten title and the playoffs. So UCLA, they knew this was going to be another scrimmage like Purdue. It's just the reality of it. But when you have Caleb Downs, Sonny Styles, I'm talking about world-class elite leadership on your team, not just your coaches, but the team. And Julian Sayin, who to me, Nevada, is a young, he's just so measured and mature and a machine. He's just a machine in the sense that he's so focused. So I'm saying that to say is that this is why I'm not concerned about them being too lax and this and that, or are they focused? I ain't concerned about none of that. There's too much evidence to point to suggest otherwise. Long rant, but I needed to get that out, Nevada, before we got to this next super chat.
Yeah,
You got
no,
anything?
no, I appreciate that. No, I think it's a very focused group. It's going to take a really good team and a really set of bad circumstances to beat these guys. And the way that the season's kind of broken down so far in terms of good health, good emotional storage, and everything else like that, I think we're going to hit our stride at exactly the right time. And I think we're going to be playing our best football in the postseason, and that's where you want to be.
Agreed. Agreed. All right. So next up, we got Karis. What's up? Thanks for being a Scoop Ultra member always. Appreciate you. Thanks for the 4.99. I love seeing our backup younger players not worried. I love the game plans this year. OH Nevada,
I
definitely good. Quincy Porter. Somebody asked about Quincy Porter. He was out there. He drew the PI where again the daggone commentators, they were all over. They were grabbing each other, but they were trying to make it seem like Quincy Porter was just such an obvious offensive PI. Anyway, don't get me started. But seeing the young guys out there was great. Um, uh, Listen, even with Devin Sanchez, I know he was getting toasted. I understand that. He's a true freshman with a super high ceiling. I'll point back to guys like Garyon Conley, and other guys who were getting absolutely destroyed, but they turned out to be pretty good players. And so Sanchez is going to be fine, but in the meantime, yeah, he's taking some lumps. But those reps are going to be important. These reps and these meaningful moments will be great for him in the future. And ultimately, it really didn't add up to anything really crazy. 48-10, but guys got to learn on the job, Nevada.
Well, yeah, I remember watching the Rose Bowl, the Jake the Snake Rose Bowl in
Yeah.
'97 or what it was, and one of the early plays where they connected for a touchdown was over a freshman defensive back named Antoine Winfield, and he got beat, and
Yes.
guys scored a touchdown. That Winfield kid turned out to be a pretty good
He
football
was all
player for it.
right.
He
He
was
was
all
all right.
right. So yeah, Devin's struggling though. They always say play find the fish when you're out there, and Devin's clearly the fish. They like it. People are picking on him when he's out there, but it's just part of the learning process that kind of goes along with that right now. And I think people have kind of heightened expectations of a player who's a 5-star number one cornerback in the country. And he's been terrific in practice. I said in my red that I think he's given the receivers a little bit too much respect right now, but he's going to be a really good one right now. But yeah, he's playing the toughest position on the field in my opinion, being a defensive cornerback, and he's taken some lumps, but that's just only going to make him a better player down the line, and that goes true for a lot of the younger players. And I can remember Kenyatta Jackson and oh man, Caden Curry going out there with the second team last year and just getting pushed around and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, we don't want those guys out there in the field. And then they come in now.
Right.
I mean, so it's the natural life cycle. You only get better if you play. He's playing. He's going to be better days ahead. And I agree with Karras. I love watching the young guys out there. That it's no. I know how good that makes the room when the young guys get a chance to play. When guys like Bryson Rogers get a chance to score, everybody's excited about that. Or when James
Yes.
Peoples made that play, man, it lit up the entire sideline. They were so excited for him. So I'm glad to see it because hey, look, JJ grabbing another touchdown is awesome, but when the young guys do it, I just think it gives you some extra juice.
Yes, it's so great for overall morale. And listen, I know we've been kind of telling y'all in the weeks leading up to now how Ryan Day has been really pushing him and trying to and Lachlan, of course, but trying to work on his confidence. Because a part of people specifically, he wasn't being patient. He had great expectations, and he was pressing a little bit. And so, of course, the O line and predictability didn't help that. But now you're starting to see his confidence go up and up and up and up. And so I was so happy, just as a fan, Nevada. I was super happy to see this dude, really keep focus and keep chipping away and literally end up on Sports Center. You went from afterthought, nobody wants people to be on the field, as I heard people saying that, to on Sports Center. Does that mean he's going to take Bo Jackson snaps now? No, but that means he has a role in the team, and we're going to need all these guys. Even if they're not playing major snaps, we're still going to need them. This is all stuff that coaches think about, y'all. Morale, all that stuff throughout the entire team. That's why this culture is so great. And so, anyway, I'm too fired up with all my thoughts. So let me back off before I go on another 10-minute rant. All right, here we go.
But let me say one other thing on that.
Yeah.
That's like when you're playing Madden, like morale is not something that's gonna you just shove the player in there. You know what I'm saying? And it's like,
Right.
but you're exactly right. That stuff matters, man. You're
It
dealing with
does.
human beings. These are
It
not
does.
robots. These are
Yeah.
people, young people, and their feelings matter and how they feel and how other people feel about them. And that's a really underrated point you made there. So I just wanted to call that out.
Yep, I appreciate that, and that's why Ryan Day's so big on the mental health side. I mean, he's just like Urban Meyer was a psych major. He knew how to get you fired up and push your buttons. Well, Ryan Day understands this aspect of it, and which is also producing, providing production from players because he doesn't give up on them, and he knows how to speak to them in a way that awakens their confidence in a different way. So I love it. All right, Pelagalarius 1270. Thanks for the 5. After we beat Michigan, does Coach Day consider holding out his first and second string players at the Big Ten championship? I'll say this, Nevada. Even if he's thinking of it, he's not going to do it. I just don't see there's no way he's doing it. First of all, they don't have a Big Ten title. So that's a part of their goals. National championship is the highest goal. Big Ten title and beating the team up north. Those are the 3 goals. Okay. So I cannot see him sitting out his players for the Big Ten title game. Even if he just for PR like optics, he just wouldn't do it. I don't think he would do it anyway, Nevada. Right? Am I tripping?
Well, no, you're not tripping, but I think the poster brings up a really good point, and it's one I kind of touched on it with kind of a throwaway comment earlier, but like, are we better off losing to Michigan and avoiding the Big Ten championship game?
Yeah.
If after or after we beat Michigan, if you've got guys that are even marginally injured, or if somebody's got a slightly strained groin, do you play him or do you hold him? Because that Big Ten championship game really doesn't matter. If we're undefeated number 1 in the country and Indiana's undefeated number 2 in the country, and we're playing each other in the Big Ten championship game, if you lose, what are you going to fall to 3? You're not
Right.
going to fall to 7. You know what I'm saying? You're going to
Right.
fall to 3. So does it really matter? Do you really push it? I think it's a great point, and I think it's one that people have to think about. I mean, if we lose to Michigan, this is because I'm always into game theory and thinking about all the different scenarios. If we lose to Michigan, that means we missed the Big Ten championship game, so we don't have to play in the Big Ten championship game. And how far would we really fall if we lost to Michigan? 4, probably 4.
If that.
So you still get a bye in the first round. We don't have to play in the Big Ten championship game, so we get more time. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, is that really the worst thing in the world? I mean, these are all stuff you got to talk about in the 12th game. This is all unthinkable conversations back in 2006
Yeah,
or
it was.
1992 or something, or 1981. But in 2025, this is the stuff you got to think about, because it's like, it may be you're better off. It's funny how different things happen, because, like, like, I'm jumping around on topics, but remember the famous play where Michigan State blocked the punt against Michigan on the last play of the game and
You got trouble
recovered
with
it,
the
and
snap.
trouble snap. Okay, that cost Ohio State a playoff berth. That game
Yeah.
cost us a playoff berth. So, like, while we watched that, we're like, we all cheered and laughed and just thought it was the greatest thing that we've ever seen. You don't know what it could mean to you. So, like, in this 12-team playoff, the 4 seed could have a better path to the playoff than the 1 seed. You just don't know.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I'm really torn. Like, last year when we lost to Michigan, as bad as that was, it meant that we didn't have to play Oregon in the Big Ten championship game, and we had 3 weeks to kind of pull it together, and then had a home game against Tennessee where we could get it all together, pull it all together, and then go on that run. That was the right thing for this team. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We didn't want to play Oregon again in the Big Ten championship game and then play them a third time in the college
Yeah, that
football
would have
playoff.
been, yeah.
That'd have been ridiculous. So I mean, it just I don't know. I just throw stuff out there without I just think that the difference sometimes between a disaster and a miracle is just the passage of time. And I think you just have to look at it sometimes in this stuff in terms of kind of going, whatever happens, the good news is in the 12-team playoff, we've got a chip and a chair. We're in the dance, and
Yeah.
we're going to be just fine. And so, for me, it just gives me great comfort that no matter what happens, Ohio State's going to be fine and have a great path to the national championships. It kind of takes the pressure off in terms of my way of thinking for that game, because I think sometimes people put so much emphasis on that game when the reality is that game, in terms of importance in the overall scheme of things, means the same thing as the UCLA game or the Rutgers game or the Purdue game or the Washington game. It's a game in the regular season, and that's all that it is. And
Yeah.
that may sound sacrilegious to somebody, but in the 12-team playoff era, that's just the reality.
Yeah, I agree. It's listen, it's a whole new world that we're in, and this is another tough conversation to have. Shoot, Nevada, the fact that we're acknowledging the facts that the Michigan game does not hold the weight that it used to hold as far as what's needed to get to the national championship. People are still, bro. I've talked to people directly, like the homeboys I've known for years, that still can't get past it. Like they can't get past it. I'm just like, this ain't our grandpa's. This ain't even our Big Ten or college football anymore. What we grew up on. It's just not. And so now to this point, you're right. The Big Ten title game to me is just, it's great, but it's just not. It's nowhere near a natty run. It's just not. With that said, I don't think Day would do it. I don't think like the poster saying.
Yeah, but a little bit. But let me, and I hate to interrupt you, but if
Yeah,
Julian
yeah,
Sain had a slightly sprained ankle, okay, just slightly sprained ankle,
yeah.
would you play him in the Big Ten championship game, or would you play Lincoln and rest him and give him 2-3 weeks off to get ready for the college football playoff?
Okay, so good question, and that's different because I would rest him. Now he's
Okay.
saying holding out first and second string
Well,
players.
no, but it's like,
That's like,
no, but it's like sometimes there's a guy like we use the Carnell Tate example. Carnell Tate, if this week was the Michigan game, could have played,
yeah,
but he didn't play. So it's like one of those ones, one of those calls where like a guy can play, you can play him, but do you hold him back if he's slightly nicked and you're worried about, I mean, I think it's just fun to talk about because this is stuff that would never, in the old days, it'd be, of course you play, you have to win. If you don't win, your season's over. You got to go on. 12-team playoff, man. I'm telling you, you got to approach it differently. Ryan
yeah.
Day has to approach it differently, and then we as fans have to approach it differently.
No, I agree. In that specific scenario, I do think that would open the door for him to have the cojones to do it. If everybody was just flat out healthy, and the Big Ten title game against Indiana was coming up, and he decided to just sit starters just for the
Yeah, no,
playoffs,
no, no.
no. And that's what I'm saying. I think that's what the poster's saying. But to your point, if Sand has a little ankle, man, you better not play him. We need him for the playoffs. I 1,000% agree with that.
Yeah.
So because I was nervous after UCLA in the game when he came up hobbling. I'm like,
Yeah. No,
no, no, no,
no, we
no.
don't. Yeah,
So
we don't things that would change the season for us. Have that guy go down.
absolutely. So great, great. And this is why we love these super chats, y'all. This is what we talk about. Great questions. And here's another great question, Nevada. Look at this. D Sunny, who's always great. Thanks for the 499. Hey B, who had the better moment? Bruce Leroy getting the globe or Neo not running and fighting an agent? Now, Nevada, I know you have not seen The Last Dragon.
I have
Okay.
not.
But basically, I'll just quickly tell you, you got the bully, the antagonist, the villain, Show Nuff. Okay. It was funny about the movie is he had a crew. They would walk around Harlem. Who's the master? And his crew would be like, Show Nuff. Who's the master? Show Nuff, right? He would just go in places and just bully people. He bullied Bruce Leroy. all the way to the end where he finally, you know how the movies, you finally tap into your chi or you tap into your animal spirit or whatever. Well, he finally tapped into his Bruce Leroy glow and he fought the bully back and defeated him. Now, as a kid, D Sonny, that stuck with me because you know you're impressionable as a kid. I love The Matrix. Okay. One of the best series ever. But I'm gonna go with the Bruce Leroy glow because I was just a young B Moses, Nevada, and I was just like eat my popcorn, like you know, like enjoying it. So that's my answer. And Nevada, I know you're hindered on answering it, I guess, because you haven't seen both movies.
Well, yeah,
Last Dragon.
I'm gonna go with any Keanu Reeves thing because Keanu Reeves ultimately ended up playing the greatest character in cinema history in John Wick,
Yeah,
and you know what I'm saying. So I mean, that was like that's like the perfect. And that movie, if you know anything about the movie, in terms that movie almost didn't get made. They needed
yeah,
to get like a last minute loan from, of all people, Eva Longoria to finish the film, and it turned out to be like this iconic thing. And Keanu Reeves, just like what a great, the John Wick character is one of the great characters of all time, and so convincing, and the
yeah.
fight scenes and everything, they're so great. So I'm gonna go with Neo, early John Wick, Keanu Reeves in that scenario there.
So we're split, D Sunny, and I'm not going to get off on a tangent. We don't have time. But as far as one of the most unpredictable character arcs, or not character arc, excuse me. Let me rephrase that because that's not the right term. One of the most unpredictable acting arcs or actor arcs is Keanu Reeves. My first memory of Keanu Reeves was Bill and Ted's Excellent
Excellent.
Adventure.
Underrated
Okay,
films. Underrated
bro,
films.
like, listen, for you young pups out there, go to Tubi or Netflix. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure was Keanu Reeves' first big actor role, and it is, to me, it still holds up to this day as just a great fun movie. And so, you know, we got to get back to our movie show. We're gonna do a whole pot on movies. But anyway, all right, Miss Pinky, thanks for the $4.99. Kevin Brown announcing commitment on McAfee this week. Rumor is he's headed to WV. Nevada, I know how I feel about this. Last time we talked, we were saying, listen, his pops is a West Virginia legacy. Okay. He's being pushed to West Virginia. Unless something changed that I didn't hear about, it's probably going to be West Virginia, right, Nevada? Or am I tripping?
Well, yeah, and with us taking the Kaiser Wilhelm's son and the offensive lineman, and the fact that it's McAfee, the West Virginia
Mm-hmm.
legacy on that
Good
show,
call.
I
Yeah.
don't think that's a coincidence. So yeah, I think Kevin Brown's going to go. You know, where he's really going is he's going to obscurity, because after he goes to West Virginia, we're never going to hear from this guy again. And for all the excitement about Kevin Brown, it's going to be bye bye. Which is usually the way it goes with 99% of the recruits when they go to something. They make a choice like this, and then we just never hear from them again. So Kevin, goodbye, Kevin. We barely knew you.
Yep. Kevin. That's my
Kevin.
response to the decision. But no, but for real, do what you do, you know, with your pops. Have fun.
Yeah.
Have fun. Do your thing. All right. Let me see. BMO Geo did another great super chatter. Thanks for the 5. B Moses in Nevada. The arrogance of Indiana now is astounding. LOL. I had to remind them the last time they beat us, their head coach was Bill Mallory, 1987. Geo did listen. I went on so many rants on my page and just on the pod. Indiana, first of all, I didn't know they had fans. Number one. Now that I know they have fans, they're absolutely ridiculous. You're right. It's like the whole act like you've been there before. Like they are the poster child for that, and it's just embarrassing. And it's just like, dude, you still got to see us. You know, with this whole Big Ten title, the percentages say we're going to play you in the Big Ten title. I mean, listen, we can talk about what if we don't or whatever, but we're most likely going to play you. You got to see this Buckeye team and all these NFL guys on a fast track. So keep talking, Bucko, like you were last year until you came into the shoe and got throttled. So, and you got anything on that, Nevada?
Well, yeah, it's not like we haven't seen this movie before. Like, you know,
Right.
they had the same run up last year, and I think, look, I think Indiana's a good team,
Yes.
and Cignetti's a good coach, but we're a great team, and we'll when we get on the same field, they'll see the difference between a good team and a great team.
Yeah. Bottom line. Again, we've given them the respect this whole time. Indiana's a really good team, but we believe They're not as talented as us and prepared as us. And I think we're going to show all of that when we play them. But first things first, we'll get to them in a few weeks.
Hold on. Before you get to your next super chat, I'm just going to give you a stat line really quick, and you name the
All right.
player. Okay, ready? Name the player. Today,
Yep.
4 for 16, 47 yards, 1 interception. Who am I? 4 for 16, 47 yards, 1 interception.
Oh, that's got to be J.J. McCarthy, no?
No, that was Shador.
Oh yeah, listen, I
Man.
saw my Browns lost. Somebody in the chat said it. I had it pulled up. Me and Nevada were talking backstage. It was 16-16, and I was just like, man, I can't believe they're actually in this game. And then doom 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 doom, you know the music, and they lost.
4 for 16. Yeah, JJ was really ass today too. He had 2 interceptions. He was so bad. He's so bad. JJ McCarthy is exactly who we thought he was. Like, if you ever had, like, because when he got drafted 10th or whatever it was, I'm thinking, everything I know about football is a lie, because somebody thinks he's good, and I think he stinks. And now that he stinks, the whole world makes sense to me again. So thank you, JJ, for putting my world back into the proper perspective.
And even Harbaugh worshiper, your guy, Colin Cowherd, had to admit that he just never understood it. And on top of that, he called out Michigan players for not performing well in the league. He didn't go all the way to its logical conclusion and say, oh, maybe they were cheating, but he did mention that. So, hey, I mean, I don't know. Maybe we're tripping. All right. Last super chat, Sean Rollins. Thanks for being a Scoop Ultra member. 23 months. That's a long time, brother. Shout out to B. Moses in Nevada. What a time to be a Buckeye fan, and what a great statement. Appreciate it, love it, soak in it. Let the haters hate, whatever. But it is a fantastic time to be a Buckeye fan, and so I'm glad you sent that, Sean. Aren't you, Nevada?
Well, yeah, and it's so spot on. I was talking about it today with one of my kids, and I'm just saying, like, we always talk about how when it's good, but like defending national champion, 10-0, academic excellence, recruiting excellence, staff. I think you're 14 draft picks last year, top 5 players in college football now. Best team that we may ever have is in 2026, 2027 recruiting class. I mean, if you're not happy now, man, you are never going to be happy. Right. So yeah, it's a great time to be a Buckeye fan and enjoy every minute of it, because this is truly the platinum years of your Buckeye experience.
Absolutely. So listen, with that said, we're going to go ahead and bang out. We got the brother Dev coming on next in a few minutes, a couple minutes actually, going to be talking about some good recruiting stuff. Once again, Dev and Funky have been absolutely killing it. Listen, this stuff is on the scoop board before we even say it on here, weeks ahead of time. All right. So these recruits we're telling you about, we knew about because they just been grinding. And so, make sure you tune in to them on the board and on the podcast. Get you something to drink real quick and come back. Dev is about to hop on. And listen, we're going to see y'all tomorrow. Go Bucks. Peace.